Hey guys, new video for Path of Exile. So it's going to be another part of the build diary for my armor stacker in 3.24, and it is now day 5, I believe. And so, going pretty good on the Mage Blood farm. Pretty much basically have the Mage Blood. I mean, it doesn't really look like we have that much money right now, but I did invest in a couple of things, like mainly like a three passive voices. I managed to buy this thing for like 65 div, which is pretty cheap considering there are now like 90 to like 100 divines. Pretty nice. I also did buy a March of Legion boots. This is a like perfectly rolled pair of boots with a +1/+2. So usually I don't really buy these things until I get the Mage Blood, but and that's because the Mage Blood price usually goes up quite a bit, like very quickly. Like it'll be 200 div or like 170 div, and then it'll just keep going up and up and up like really quickly. So you do want to get the Mage Blood, usually as fast as possible. But I think due to the changes of like the div card farming, and then they've also made the Mage Blood and Headhunter drop a lot more often. So like they increase the drop rate. So the Mage Blood prices haven't really been going up, and I think there's more people farming tons of apothecaries and dropping like full apothecary stacks and all this kind of stuff. The price of the cards might actually be going down instead of going up. Kind of like what happened last league when people would just start farming the Valdos maps, and Mage Blood was like, I don't know, as cheap as it's ever been in the history of the game. So I'm not really all that concerned about getting, having to get a really quick Mage Blood. Although I do pretty much have all the currency to have one if I just sell the voices in my Scarab tab, which is doing pretty good. It's like 20 divines worth of scarabs in here, and I have another like maybe 10 div of essences that I can sell off. So yeah, a lot of people are always asking me, well, how are you making all your money? And they're doing their simulacrums or they're doing whatever farm they're doing, but just don't seem to make the same amount. So what's the difference? And the difference is you can't really just be doing one type of content, I think, right? So, farming isn't the highest divines per hour strat, right? So Simulacrum does have good drops, has good bulk sales, but it's not going to be the highest div per hour if that's what you're looking for, right? So, and if you are looking for the highest div per hour strats, you're going to have to pretty much just stop playing the game and sit in your hideout, do some hideout warrior stuff and this kind of stuff. I like to do a mix of everything, so I like to actually play the game. So I'm doing simulacrums for that. I farm simulacrum. The money I make in simulacrum, I then invest that into things I know are gonna increase in price, right? Because if I just left all my money in divines, the value of my divines is going to start going down every day. So the next day I'm going to be having less and less divines because they're worth less, right? To kind of counter that, what I do is I'm investing in things that are going to go up in price, like this voices. So at the time I bought it, it was worth 65 divines. Next day it's now worth 90 divines. So made quite a bit of money just by buying this and just keeping it in my inventory instead of just keeping all my money in divines and letting those divines kind of just like rot away. Okay, so that's one way, by investing my currency into different items that are going to increase in price. There's quite a lot of these. You can go check on PoE Ninja for like previous leagues, what items increase in price and this kind of stuff. And that's kind of something that you have to manage on your own. I'm not going to just tell you, all right, go invest in this, because that's kind of dumb, because these kind of things change. Okay, so another thing, crafting, right? So I like to do a little bit of crafting every now and then. And what have I been crafting this league? Well, mainly just like hubris circlets. So these are pretty easy to craft, like very cheap to craft. I think I spend about 1 to 2 divines crafting each one of these, and I end up selling them for about anywhere from 5 to about 15 divines per helmet. So it's pretty nice craft because it's very simple, easy to make, especially if you have a fractured base. A lot of different builds will use this helmet. It's not just like, Armor Stacker can use this helmet, like Trickster builds can use this helmet. It's like very generic, like a Hubris Circlet. Like a lot of different builds want these kind of stats on a helmet. Like any kind of CI build would like this, could use this helmet. So there's a lot of different, your market is very big, and a lot of people just don't know how to craft these or just don't want to bother crafting it, so they just come and buy it. So that's been another part of like my profits has been some crafting. I've also managed to drop quite a lot of these small cluster jewels, I level 84 ones. I've actually dropped 5 of them, which is kind of crazy. And rather than just like selling them, I just keep them listed for like 10 div. I mean, right now they're only like 4 div, I think. Oh, the price has gone up, so now they're about 6 to 7 div. But what I do is basically, I'll just buy some alterations whenever I have some like spare time and I'm not farming simulacrum, and I'll just craft them. And then I'll sell the crafted version for a little bit more profit. And then I think that's about it for the items I'm crafting right now. I used to do like, you know, ward loop gear, crafting that, and that's always very nice profit, but this time I'm feeling a little bit lazy, so I'm just sticking to these helmets for now. And the other thing I'm also doing is I'm doing double corrupted temples. The Alva Temple with the Locus of Corruption. So there's a lot of different uniques you can do. This time I decided to do some Dawnbreakers, and I did sell one the other day for about 30 divines, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's another pretty nice way to make some extra money on the side. And the nice thing about these crafts is, especially if you're doing sort of like items that are niche or expensive, is you can craft, you know, a couple of these and just have them sitting in your stash and listed while you play. So while you play, those items are listed and people will come buy them. So it is kind of nice. So yeah, I think on average in like when I'm playing, it's like maybe like only about 40% of my actual profit is from the simulacrum, maybe even less. And most of my profit, you know, the money I'm making is coming from all these like little things I'm doing on the side. And this kind of stuff. Okay, so that's a little bit about you know, how I'm going about making my currency and this kind of stuff. And let's go over some of the gear. So I swapped over to Lightning Strike, and the reason for swapping to Lightning Strike is, well, you know, Smite's good and all when you're starting out. I think the Fall Smite really does carry when you don't have a lot of damage in gear, and Lightning Strike is actually like a lot more damage than Smite, but I think you do need to reach a certain damage point for it to like kind of feel good, because when you don't have a lot of damage, like the projectiles aren't really going to be clearing all that good, and it might not feel all that, you know, all that great, I think. So in the beginning I like to go Smite, and swapping over to Lightning Strike is like super simple. There's only a few things you need to do. The hardest one is going to be getting 3 green sockets on your Doriani's prototype. Now you don't necessarily really need 3, because this returning projectile support is a little bit, how would you say, not super necessary. Okay, so the reason that you don't need returning projectiles is basically this is a 40% more damage for projectile support, right? Because you get the return projectile, so it means you get 2 hits, but the return hit is doing 60% less damage, so basically 40% more projectile damage. Now, most of these other supports are like say, what is this? Oh, I don't really have one, but like most of these damage supports are like 40% more damage. So it's the same as having like a damage on full life support, or, you know, WED or whatever. You could technically just not run this and just get 2 green, which is pretty easy to get on your chest, and then run a like damage on full life or something like that, and that'd be fine too. But I think the returns are actually pretty nice for clear, because it allows you to kind of hit behind you and this kind of stuff, and it does make the clear a bit better. So it's like having a 40% more damage support, plus you get extra clear, so it's kind of nice. But yeah, totally not super, you know, important. You don't really actually need it. So after you've set this up, what you want to do is you want to put your Smite into your boots and link it to your Empower and that kind of stuff. So you can see my Smite is now level 31, which is pretty cool, because we have it in the boots, and it does benefit from the +5 to aura gems, because Smite does have the aura tag. And then we're just going to change our mark over to Sniper's Mark, and you're pretty much ready to run Lightning Strike. That's pretty much all I've changed. I haven't really gone and taken point blank, and I'm not really even sure if this is even worth it with Lightning Strike, because like I used to always go and grab this, but because, you know, in POB it looks good, and, like, the damage numbers look really nice when you have this. But the thing is, with Lightning Strike, the return hits are always going to be counting as traveled the max distance. So that means this is actually going to reduce the damage of your returning hits. So it's not actually going to be a 30% more damage. I mean, the initial hits will do 30% more, but the returns are pretty much going to be like doing like no damage at all. Maybe if you're not using like returning projectiles, then this might be good, or if you're using like a Nimbus, then this is kind of acceptable maybe. I'm not really sure. It's kind of hard to do the math on this, but at the moment, not using it, totally not needed, and it's been pretty good so far. Okay, so some other changes to the tree. So now that I've actually gotten my Watcher's Eye over here, it's actually the same amount of points to path up this way than it is the path from the Duelist area, and you do actually get a bit more damage. So this node Sentinel here gives 10 to all resistances, which you might think, oh, it's pretty bad for Doriani's prototype because it's going to increase our lightning resistance. But actually, for my character right now, the increased armor that I'm getting is actually giving me more damage than that extra minus 10 lightning resistance. So I just pathed up this way. Okay, other than that, nothing really much has changed. I've started to level up. Just my spare points, I'm putting it into the spell block. And eventually, when I get one more point, I'm going to be going into the attack mastery for the non-vol skills, strike one additional nearby enemy, and that's going to allow me to drop the ancestral cult support for another damage support. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention is I am kind of lacking in dex right now, but you see I need like 18 or something, right? Yeah, but that'll be fixed as soon as we get the Mage Blood belt. Once we get the Mage Blood, then we won't have any more dex problems, and they'll kind of fix that. Okay, so that's sort of the character as it is right now. Simulacrum farm is going good. I mean, it's not taking me obviously 51 minutes. I was like sitting in AFKing here for a while, like on average 35 to about 40 minutes per simulacrum. Simulacrum drops are, you know, pretty good. It seems like the voices have gotten a bit more rare. Like I've only gotten about 3 to drop in all so far. So it does seem a little bit rare, but other than that, the profits have been pretty good, even just from simulacrum. But I think that'll be it for this one, guys. Quick little overview of the build progress, and from now I think we'll just go and complete the Mage Blood. Probably sell off the 3 passive voices here because we don't really need it. And then buy the Mage Blood, and then we'll get the Mage Blood flask setup going, and after that we'll go and buy a Grasping Mail, or maybe Grasping Mail or the 1 passive voices. I'm not really sure which one I'll do first. I think I do kind of want to get the Grasping Mail first because I do want to farm some Valdo maps. I don't really want to do Valdos on a Doriani's prototype, so we'll see what happens. But that'll be it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.